very important update. There's going to be 2 videos following this, but yeah, it's a pretty important update. So, first thing, I found out I broke my ankle on that volcano in El Salvador, and yeah, it was a nasty little roll. That's what I thought, you know, like a sprain or something like that, and it was running down the volcano like a bit of an egotistical wanker, you could say. And yeah, rolled it, thought, yeah, it's going to be pretty bad. Didn't think it would be broken. For a couple of weeks, it was kind of on and off, like swelling, and I couldn't really walk that well. But I was still walking every day, didn't have any cast, never went to a doctor. Months and months passed, and I did some hiking in the Lake District with only maybe about 10 kilos on the back, but quite strenuous hiking. And all of a sudden, the ankle went again. So I went to University College Hospital in London, and they did an x-ray, and they said, oh yeah, you've had a broken ankle. So it was that time in El Salvador. And basically the damage is permanent and it can't be reversed because it hasn't healed properly. So I can walk normally, everything's totally fine. But it's when you have, like, you pack loads of weight on it, then from time to time it has the potential to kind of revert back to the injury. So that's a bit annoying. And then a few days later I woke up and had a massive lump on my neck out of nowhere. So I went to the hospital and they said, oh yeah, it's like a swollen cyst. So I insisted they cut it out. I don't believe in any of these drugs or any of that kind of nonsense. Get straight to the point, take a blade, make sure it's disinfected, chop that thing out. So they did do that, but unfortunately, because these people are students, and being the NHS, which is a total shithole, it got infected immediately, and I had to go back. And I went back and got another fucking 21-year-old or whatever who's not even a real doctor, and he then had to redo the entire procedure again. And then I decided, fuck it, I'm not going to go back to these hospitals because you're just increasing the chance of an infection. If you have to go back and they stuff it with kind of like an absorbent kind of pad, and then you have to obviously go back to have it stitched, and then you have to go back and have the stitches removed. So I just thought, fuck it, I'm not doing any of that. So I just ripped out this pad that they put in my neck, and I never returned to the hospital, and now it's absolutely fine. So it just goes to show you don't need any of that shit. And then I realised a couple of months before all this happened that I only had a page left in my passport. I've been planning this big cycling trip. So I sent off for a new passport, and they required an interview, which is really weird. I've never had it before. I'm a British citizen, but of course, you know, in your own country now you're treated like dirt. So I had to have an interview to get a new passport. And the next available date at that time was May 7th, and this was like 3 weeks ago. And I was like, I'm not fucking having that. This is ridiculous. This is what a totalitarian state the UK is. People just have no idea what's going on. So I was like, fuck this. And I called up every day hoping for a cancellation. Within 5 days, having called them like 5-6 times, I get an interview. I have this interview with this, how do I put it, very unprofessional looking chap. And he said to me, we're not going to give you a full passport anymore. You're only going to get a 1-year passport. So they gave me a 1-year passport because we live in a totalitarian state, and I will show you on a video if you want evidence of that. And everything I've been saying for years is completely true. When you know a little bit about what the government do, when you know a little bit about certain people in positions of authority that are fucking kids, you get reprimanded and you start getting essentially sanctioned in your own country, not allowed to leave. And I was very close to not getting a passport at all, by the way. But in the end, I've got a 1-year passport. So now, in essence, this is part of the video here. Here's the bike for the bike trip. What was supposed to be a big, long 2-year bike trip, I now have to do in 6 months because I can't enter a country with less than 6 months on a passport. So it's not really a 1-year passport. It is, in fact, a 6-month passport. And if I ever return to this country, they're not going to give me another passport. And I know that for sure. So I have to return to Central Asia and claim asylum in a less developed country. Meanwhile, half of the world is crossing into this country illegally, getting given 4 5-star hotels, and there's people out there that need money, there's homeless people, there's, you know, all kinds of individuals that would be better off with taxpayers' cash. But of course it goes to Afghanistan folk and people from half the world who get put in travel lodges and Premier Inns and Hiltons and Novotels. And meanwhile, if you're a British citizen, you can't even get a passport in your own country. And all of these people probably have residencies, and half of them probably have passports. It wouldn't surprise me. So there we go. And if you don't agree with that, well, then you haven't travelled enough. That's the reality of what happens in this world. It's not just the UK. It's the same thing everywhere in Germany. You know, France, most of the European Union, the United States. It's the same system. It's a systematic attack on kind of a homogenous societies. That's the purpose. That's how you control, divide and conquer. But anyway, that's the intro. I've summarised it as best as I can in the shortest space I can. So yeah, the aim was to cycle all the way to China. Now the plan is going to have to, as I said, be part of that, and then I'll have to fly to a place with the bike. So it's been a very, let's say, busy, interesting couple of weeks, couple of months. Returning from Brazil, obviously in South America, after 3.5 years outside the UK, to come back and then almost not be able to leave. Not very nice, is it? So, but I'm looking forward to the trip, irrespective of what's happened, and yeah, I'm looking forward to what's coming. You know, it's nice to challenge oneself, and I'm not a cyclist, but I think, you know, after a few angry days of tyre repairs and all that kind of stuff, I'll be able to cope with the game, let's say. So there we go. I'm going to post a few more videos, and yeah, I guess this is an important update. So yeah, stay tuned.